Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Harvesting Justice podcast brought to you by Pro-Life San Francisco, the pro-life organization that is working to create a culture of life in the Bay Area of California. I am the executive director, Melanie Salazar, and I'm joined by my colleague. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you so much, Melanie. Glad to be here for episode 2. And yeah, hang in there. We're learning the ropes and we're really excited to continue having this conversation with you all and with each other, share about all of our projects, and especially highlighting that primary project of uncovering all the aspects of fetal organ harvesting taking place here in our own backyard in connection with multiple institutions.
Before we jump into the topic, I actually wanted to talk about, what was it, the 49ers in a game recently? Or the
I don't do
Golden State
sports.
Warriors? No!
Okay, yeah, see, it seems like you're still learning the ropes too. Are you generally a sports person and still getting to know the local groups?
Well, I know for San Francisco, there's the Golden State Warriors for
There we
basketball.
go.
There's the 49ers. Yeah. There's the 49ers for football. And the only reason why I watched the Super Bowl last year was because the 49ers were playing. So I was like, I can't
Mm,
not watch the Super Bowl. Like, I
right.
live in 49er territory.
Mhm.
And I was so disappointed last year when the 49ers lost, because I was rooting for them, like, go Niners. And I know that in recent times that with basketball, the Golden State Warriors have been playing, and I know there was a recent game. I don't think they're doing well. I don't know. I don't really keep up as like I'm not like
Okay, now I know. We need to bring our board member John on board because he is a sports fiend. He'll
oh,
balance this out. Like the
that's
vibe needs
true.
to be definitely balanced out here.
I just wanted to talk about like local happenings, what's happening in culture. Fun fact, at our support raising dinner last year, John, our board member, was our MC, and the entire evening he was giving us score updates of the football game that was happening of the
Yeah.
Niners versus, I
Yeah.
guess, the Cowboys, I think. It
Well,
was,
I would say, yeah,
yeah,
at least 75% of the crowd want to know that information. And I'm glad we were able to provide it to them through
yeah.
John.
So that's latest on sports, but what do we want to talk about apart from local San Francisco team sports?
Let's talk about a quick family update
Okay.
since everyone loves to know how well you and everyone is doing over there at HQ.
Sure. Well, my son is now 9 months and his first tooth just popped.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, so now he has a tooth and he's starting to stand. And well, he can stand if he's like leaning on something. Homeboy can crawl. Like, he will follow me into rooms now. Him crawling has changed the game. Like, he's
Yeah.
not immobile, like, baby that stays in one place. So now we have this fence around our bed so that he has to
Ah,
roam in here and don't fall off and don't touch other stuff. So that's an update from HQ. And right now my husband and son are at our local park, so I will be joining them after we finish recording.
that's awesome. Yeah, my end,
Yeah. Any update on your driver's permit? Robert's been working on
I
getting.
don't want to talk about,
Okay, I'm
well,
sorry if
since
I
you brought it up
shouldn't have
already,
mentioned that.
yeah, it's really crazy how, like, back when I was in high school, I graduated 2010. I think a couple years beforehand, they stopped making driver's ed a requirement. Like, it was a required class to pass to get your diploma, but then they removed that requirement. I needed to repeat an English class, didn't have any time in the, school schedule to do it, to take driver's ed. And as a natural procrastinator, I kept putting it off. And of course, what out of the way opportunities is a procrastinator gonna make for themselves to go get driver's training, like and also I'm the sort of tester who feels like I need to over prepare. And I think this kind of relates to a lot of the research and posting that
That
we
sounds
do.
like you.
Yeah, it's like I want to over research, be extremely clear on all the details before I go forward and, whatever it is, like, finally taking the test or publishing some new information. I take too long on things sometimes. So, yeah, this is the third time I got my permit, just, back around New Year's Eve. And this time I'm finally going to do the behind the wheel tests because signing up for driver's school, that'll cost a little bit of money, but I'm going to spring for that. The family is going to help out and get me all the preparation that I feel I want to have. So that way I can go forward with the actual behind the wheel test and be
Nice.
able to help out in so many ways, both with pro-life
Yeah.
SF, with, driving family around. I don't need to stay the passenger prince forever. So
So will you be able to help on our drive up to Sacramento for the California March for Life? Will you get
phew,
your license?
don't know. I'll definitely help with, since you or Jerry would be in the passenger seat next to me, can grab the wheel if I do anything wrong. But yeah, I'll definitely utilize my permit to help with the drive up. And yeah, perfect reminder, everybody, if you don't know about the State House March for Life in California, right at the Sacramento State Capitol, come along. It's on the last day of March. It's March 31st, a Monday. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, and all the happenings start at 10 a.m. Be there. And if you can't come as early as 10, show up at noon and you'll be good. You'll hear all the speeches from all their highlighted speakers and be able to do the lap around the Capitol building, which will be amazing.
Come say hi to us. We will have a table and we will be giving away some cool pro-life stickers, pro-life merch. One of the stickers says "Hello Pro-Life," and all the Californians love that one. We have another sticker that says "California babies have a right to life," and that was another really popular sticker. So come get your free stickers at our table.
Free posters too. You could use the posters as a sign if you don't have your own to bring at the march. So that'll be awesome too.
Yeah, we'll have our own little posters that are larger versions of the stickers I just described. And don't throw your posters away. Hang them in your room, put them on your window for your neighbors to see. Put them on your door for your neighbors to also see.
And save
Well,
it for your next pro-life event,
yes.
whether it's a month, a week, a year from the time you bring your poster back home. It will be useful. You can bring it to it, it'll fit in multiple contexts for sure.
Totally. Yeah.
So Melanie, did you want to go forward and introduce our topic for today?
Yes. Let's just dive in. Whoa.
Is that like a Hannah Montana transition?
No. Whoa, whoa. Yeah. So today we're talking about public records requests. And Robert is the brain, the man, the myth, the legend, the chill guy who has uncovered so much of the atrocities that are happening at UCSF with fetal organ harvesting. And Robert, I just want to learn from you, and others will get to learn as I'm learning. Like, what is the 411, the ABCs, 123, 101, how to do
It's
it?
a lot of initialisms.
I'm trying
And
to say,
numbers.
like, what the very basics, like the starter package
Yeah.
of how can the people at home, how can anyone start to try to do their own public records requests if you have an inkling that there is some corruption that is happening, that there could be illegal activity, or that babies are being harvested and used for research and financial gain, et cetera, you can do this too. You can put in records requests and try to do that research yourself to uncover what's happening and bring to light what is in darkness and bring justice for these children. So, Robert, okay, what are some first steps? How can I, the layman, do my first public records request? What do I need to know?
All right. First off, you want to know which law that you're utilizing, because when it comes to government institutions within California, What's utilized is called the California Public Records Act. I'm going to share my screen here.
So are you suggesting every state has their own like public records act? Like if you're in Massachusetts or Texas or Ohio, everyone working within their own state public records law?
Yes. So certain localities will have their own version of the Public Records Act. A lot of people might be familiar with the national version of this. It's called the Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA. Here in California, our version of FOIA is the California Public Records Act, PRA. And this is a tool that the public can use to learn more about what our, representatives are involved in, what these public institutions specifically are doing. And since, the public is allowed to have an eye into the internal workings of public institutions like research universities, the University of California system, they have a duty to disclose the information we request of them. So if we can establish that what we're looking for is in the public interest, they'll disclose that information, maybe with heavy redactions, depending on, justified limitations on what could be revealed to the public openly. Yeah, this is just something that people from state to state can look to see if they're looking to look at what their own public university systems are involved in when it comes to what's, called fetal tissue research. Specifically, what we're trying to uncover is the details, inner workings of aborted fetal tissue research. They can send in their own Public Records Act request to their local university. Here on the website for UCSF's Office of the Chancellor, it shows an overview about, who to reach out to regarding public records requests. For many years, we've sent emails to the main official there, Brenda G. As part of this institution, they have a duty, according to the Public Records Act, to reply within 10 days with just acknowledgement of reception of our letter. And if they can determine how many days it would take to collect all the information, they might give a little heads up like, oh, it'll take us about 6 weeks. Or it'll take us a couple weeks, or we're not sure, but we'll look into it. What's interesting is we did send another request for public records just about, I want to say 20 days ago. We didn't get that 10-day reply, which is really strange. I hope it doesn't turn into like a repeat of what happened a few years ago. After we had sent one of our very first letters, we got a couple of replies and then heard nothing for about half a year. So you want to make sure that you keep reaching out to the officials who have this, legal responsibility, at least within the state of California, to reply within certain designated timeframes to let you know we've received your letter, we're starting our search, we estimate a certain date of production, or distributing the records to you by XYZ. They should be keeping you in, staying in conversation with you about how the search is going. So that is basically the gist of how we started to learn more about the inner workings of UCSF, just utterly grotesque legal activities, and continuing to prod to see if we can uncover anything illegal.
Okay, so if I am a concerned member of the public in Illinois, and I think at the University of Fergalicious in Illinois, I am aware that they do abortions, and I'm wanting to find out, are they also doing fetal research, fetal organ harvesting there? So I would go to University of Fergalicious, and what would I do? What would I Google to, like, I would say University Fergalicious of Illinois public records. Like I would just Google that in the search bar, and then some type of page would pop up telling me how to, like, who to contact, or here's the link.
Exactly.
Okay.
who to contact. It'd be important to look up any sort of educational resource that tells you, well, probably, that same webpage from the university itself should give you the highlights, like expect a response from us within X days. But if you can't find an outline there should be educational sites, legal, websites that would give you that clear outline of how the institution and how you are supposed to operate within the law. Another thing, there's a really important sort of preliminary research that you could do that doesn't require using the Public Records Act. You can search the National Institutes of Health website. That's nih.gov. You can use a Google search that's filtered, limited to that website alone. Look up phrases like the University of, San Diego, University of California, San Francisco, UC
University
Irvine,
Fergalicious.
in Illinois. Why did you choose Fergalicious?
I was just thinking of a random school name that does not exist. Like,
Okay.
yeah,
Doobly-doo University.
yeah,
There we go.
Doobly-Doo University.
And that would be one search term. You could put that in quotes to, make sure that it is searching that entire phrase. And then search other terms like fetal tissue research, and then site:/nih.gov. This is a quick example of like how to start searching for published studies from medical journal articles that are copied onto nih.gov. There's dozens of researchers who are preying on pregnant families for specifically aborted organs, who will publish their research studies. And when it comes to those things, those are openly available on the internet, but of course you need to know about them and know how to search for them. In order for the public to have any care or concern over what's going on, it's kind of a hidden secret, is basically what I'm trying to say, is a hidden secret. You have to have heard about it, known how to look for it, and see those documents yourself for our society to have any chance of, ending this practice. And once you can see what is openly available on the internet, once you've found those corners, and from there, you can utilize your state version of FOIA to uncover more details, more of the inner workings of that university and their aborted fetal tissue research policies and procedures, just how they do their business, and the collection logs, all sorts of documents.
Okay, I have a follow-up question to that. So I feel like now I know, like, okay, if I think the University of Scooby-Doo is doing fetal organ harvesting, I would Google University Scooby-Doo, public records request, and there would be some guidelines there. But what does a public records request look like? Do I just say, "Dear public record person, please give me all the records about the baby being harvested here. Thank you very much." Like, what does that
Yeah,
request
it's
look?
definitely not just like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does make sense that people would be concerned about, how do I even start to word something like this?
yeah.
Let me open up one of our previous letters. Let's
Yeah, if I
see.
could see an
Who's 20?
example, that would be really helpful of like what do I write? And is there a certain layout of an example of here's what to say when?
Yeah. Let's see, the best one on our page, prolifesf.org/UCSF records. This is probably the best way to give you that overview. So here is our page about our UCSF project, initiative, campaign. And of course, here we highlight one of those studies that, for example, is openly available on the internet. You just need to know about it, know how to find it, and start sharing things like this with the public. This talks about how children who were killed in utero between 22 and 24 weeks, of course, they're talking to these parents before the abortion when these children are still alive and kicking, convincing them to follow through with their abortion because they can benefit medical research and help find cures and treatments for diseases. But in the process, devaluing that living child by inside the mother's womb. And here we see in just really sanitized, really, void of any care or concern, this language saying that human fetal salivary glands were harvested from postmortem fetuses obtained from elective legal abortions. We have seen right here the consent forms that we've uncovered through our public records requests, and I'll get to how the outline of the request should look like just after this.
Oh.
Here it talks about and, asks for the abortion patient to print and sign their name. They have to acknowledge that they've signed the consent form for an abortion procedure and have been told that whatever you decide about tissue donation, it won't affect how your abortion is going to be done. So this right here shows us the abortion hasn't happened yet. It's still in the future. The doctors, by law, they're not supposed to benefit in any way from their decision on whether to donate specimens or not. When we sent our first request for public records on July 3rd, 2019, we were more focused on, does the University of California, San Francisco, as the medical school, have any sort of relationship with our local Planned Parenthood? Because, of course, Planned Parenthood is the most notorious abortion provider in the U.S. We wanted to know if they have any legal obligations, arrangements, work-study programs with the university. But then we turned to focus more on UCSF's own in-house abortion practice. August 24th, 2020, that letter is a really good outline for the public on how a request should look like.
So if you're not already watching, this is a great episode to watch the video of, because Robert is showing on the screen these real life examples of how to do this public records request, what a records request can look like, and what Pro-Life San Francisco has uncovered, has retrieved in response to the records request.
This was written by a lawyer that assisted us pro bono. His name was Craig. Amazing work. Helped us a lot in order to really better structure our request. Let's see, an example, the very first one that we just wrote ourselves: to who it may concern, pursuant to my rights under the California Public Records Act. We just put the name of the section of the government code here. I ask to obtain a copy of the following, which I understand to be held by your agency. So this is a simple one page plus just a little bit of signature underneath of, one way you can outline your request. Just send a simple request of exact, types of documents or contracts between particular entities that you're looking to get. Here, like, for example, we ask for any contracts or agreements between UCSF and the local branches of Planned Parenthood and the national branch. We wanted to learn about the work system within UCSF's abortion training program, the Ryan Residency, which is a national training program with over 100 locations across the country. I asked for a determination of this request within 10 days of your receipt of it. And, of course, letting them know that, if you determine any of these details, these documents are exempt from disclosure by law, give me the justification for why certain things are being withheld. And, that would be cool. If there is no justification, documents should not be withheld or heavily redacted. So, of course, it's important to know what they're allowed to hold back, what they should provide to you. And that's just from reading, simple outlines of what the California Public Records Act states. In any event, please provide a signed notification citing the legal authorities on which you rely if you determine that any or all information is exempt and will not be disclosed. And if you're worried about, money, affordability, because it takes, it costs money for institutions to print out copies, I ask that you notify me of any duplication costs exceeding $50 before you duplicate the records so that I may decide which records I want copied. And of course, if you just ask for electronic, versions of the documents, that would, belie any concern, be like, you don't have to worry about anything like that. Here is a kind of updated layout. Some might say it's an improvement that is, better to utilize on how to outline your public records request. So this is the one written by our pro bono friend,
So that
Craig.
was one of the first. Oh, you said this is a good example of a public records request layout.
Yes, this here is the improved one, the one from Craig, who's a
Okay.
real friend and helping us out with this
Shout
process.
out Craig. We love you, Craig. Yeah.
So, as you know, this firm has been retained by Ms. Teresa Bukovac, our founder, and Pro Life San Francisco. This is a new Public Records Act request on behalf of my clients. So when UCSF stopped replying to our emails, it was a really strange radio silence period from them. We were expecting, a drop of information. So this isn't the only time it's happened. It's happened this month as well. That is it just that we're slipping through the cracks, or is someone just expecting us to drop our search?
Eh,
Like, I don't want to assume that that is the case. I'm not
we'll
a
have
conspiracy
to find
theorist.
out. I'm not
Right.
superstitious. I'm just a little stitious.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's important, as long as we continue to step in and assert our rights to, receive this documentation, this correspondence, or if you feel like having a lawyer at your back will assist a quick reply from whatever institution you're reaching out to, that, one or both of those things will help. Yeah, definitely when Craig sent in this letter on our behalf, they replied pretty quickly. Let's see. Pursuant to the California Public Records Act, Pro-Life SF and Teresa respectfully request to inspect all public records in the possession or control of UCSF for the following. So here's just a quick outline how you can detail your records requests. Human fetal tissue procurement logs. Procurement is another word for collection. Human fetal tissue procurement logs and transportation logs between the following senders and the following recipients, UCSF personnel. This really helps the universities when you can detail which offices, which officials, which specific staff members by name, public figures that should be called upon to divulge this information. So the Women's Options Center, Advanced Bioscience Resources, that was another source of aborted body parts that the UCSF laboratories were utilizing. We also listed some scientists whose work was published online, and also asking for emails, texts, memos from different offices regarding the procurement of human fetal tissue. The more vague that you are in terms of where in UCSF would these documents exist, the more difficult it will be for them to find it. So you do want to be clear on where this information would be housed within the institution. Here's another example. Any and all communications between UCSF and Desert Star Institute for Family Planning. In the hidden camera videos recorded by pro-life activist David Daleiden, he had a conversation with a former Planned Parenthood independent abortion provider named Deshawn Taylor. And in that conversation, she was asked, what about the scenario where a fetus is delivered out and there are signs of life? And she said the very concerning, very chilling statement, well, you have to pay attention to who's in the room. And because of that, it gives weight to the concern over illegal activity happening in supposedly respected, prestigious healthcare institutions. So we did want to know if UCSF had any sort of professional relationship with Deshawn Taylor or her abortion practice, Desert Star. And we did receive documents that showed that there is or has been recently a working relationship between the institutions, which just goes to show that if well-respected public institution like UCSF is working with a person like that who's highly suspect, could be by some measure another Gosnell in the country. You just don't know what's happening behind closed doors. And this just shows how important it is to try to do our own investigation and, you know, hopefully get enough documents to be able to divulge to authorities so that they can take up an investigation of their own. There is the important phrase here that Craig highlighted: UCSF's response to our requests are due within 10 days. That response or acknowledgement that, yes, we received the letter, we're going to start the searching process. Don't know how long it'll take, or it'll take 6 weeks. That's this highlighting that we know exactly what the institution is obligated to do at this point. So I hope that's helpful. All of these documents exist on our UCSF records webpage. So from prolifesf.org/UCSF, scroll down a little bit, click the button that says View Public Records, and that will bring you to this page. And we list out everything down here.
Great. So to try to summarize what I have learned from you is step one, find the public records page on the public university's website that'll hopefully give you a rundown on who to contact, what button to press, and then look at our prolifesf.org UCSF page for examples on a layout of how to physically write the public records request, and to be as specific as you can be to make the person's job easier, and hopefully to hear back soon, to not be vague in any language of what information you're wanting from what department or from what employees, and then wait patiently to uncover the.
Waiting patiently is very important.
Yeah, so I think that's everything I understood from what you shared.
And when you're patient, you'll receive documents like this. This was one of the documents that they sent to us under, and they give a code number for a specific Public Records Act request. So PRA number 020-107. This is one of the records that was released for us. This is from the Women's Option Center at one of the UCSF training hospitals, San Francisco General Hospital. This is a tissue log, and this detailed exactly the dates and types of fetal organs they collected from the abortion center: brain, liver, placenta, ovaries, uterus. Not the mom's ovaries, not the mom's uterus, the baby's ovaries, the baby's uterus. Internal and external genitalia, placenta, liver, legs, heart, lung, legs, top of head. Brain. I can't wrap my mind around this.
Gosh.
And this was obtained here within an abortion center in San Francisco, one of our public universities, a governmental institution that receives taxpayer dollars. I know it's a phrase that a lot of people just hear all the time, but if you just think about it, why should an institution that commits violence be receiving public support, forced public support? A better way to state it is any place that's receiving public support can no longer be allowed to do things like this.
So last thing I want to say is it's pretty gruesome uncovering what Robert, the work of Pro-Life San Francisco, has uncovered. Like that log we just looked at, that Robert just described, disgusting, right? What need does anyone have for harvesting a little baby girl's ovaries and uterus? This is just so sad. What I want to leave everyone with is to take heart. I know sometimes it feels like, we are up against a Goliath, and in some ways, yeah, it does feel like that. Almost like UCSF is our Goliath. But have hope and stay strong, knowing that we are on the side of truth. Justice will prevail, the truth will prevail. And I just always think of other examples from the past of other movements, social justice movements, equal rights, human rights movements, where they also felt like they were up against Goliaths, where they felt like maybe there would never be any change, the needle would never move, but they stayed fighting, they stayed on the course because it was the right thing to do, and maybe they just had a glimmer of hope that one day we will achieve our goals. And we look back now, and those people who stayed fighting for their different causes achieved and got equality and got the justice that they worked so hard for, even though at that point in time it felt like it was never going to happen. So I just want to encourage you to have that courage, that there have been movements past that also won, and we can win too. But it's going to take our endurance to not give up, to keep uncovering these gruesome acts, exposing these gruesome acts, and truly being the voice for these children. And I want to believe in 10, 20, 30, 50, I don't know how long it's going to take, but at one point in the future, this will all be a thing of the past. But it's going to take all hands on deck. It's going to take all of us continuing to fight for these children and not giving up. So that's what I have to say. Any last burning words, thoughts, Robert?
You said it all. The important thing is stepping in and participating when you know there's something you can do. If you have time, if you have any special skill, we want to be like a sounding board for you. Like, come in, join the conversation, and let's figure out what part you can play in bringing this practice to the wider public. And with that, public support, bring it to an end.
So thank y'all, everyone, for tuning in to episode 2 of the Harvesting Justice podcast, brought to you by Pro-Life San Francisco, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.